Hey Libra, welcome to April 2018. We are in the middle of the moving process from going from Pennsylvania to North Carolina. So these readings are going to be a lot shorter, a lot sweeter. No fancy editing or anything like that. I actually shuffled all the cards before I started the video and laid it out. And yeah, so I'm actually also closing my doors for private readings during Mercury retrograde. So that's March 22nd to April 15th, and then I'm extending that out to the end of April just because of this whole moving process. So if you want to follow me on Instagram and check out our little adventure with the move, you can follow me on Instagram at the Creative Gypsy, but that may change soon. So follow me now, and so you can stay in touch with me because I'm going to be changing my name soon. I haven't, honed in on a specific name yet, but once I pick one that I feel really good about, I will make an official announcement on here. Okay, so Libra. This is an interesting month for you. So I'm going to angle the camera down here, and we're going to zoom in a little bit. Oh, let's zoom out just a little. Okay, so this is how it laid out for me. So this is facing me. So I'm going to turn these around so that they are facing you. Okay, so we have the King of Cups, the Death card in reverse. That's the 13th card in the Major Arcana. We have the Page of Cups upright, and then we have the Queen of Cups in reverse. So when I see Cups cards connected with, well, first of all, Cups cards in general are about emotions, passion, love, things of that nature. Water is, tied to emotions and intuition, things like that. The Death card is about endings, no matter whether it's in reverse or upright. So it seems like it's going to be a month about closure, or going deeper with your emotions for the purpose of releasing. So we have the King of Cups here, and if you take a look at him, when you think of a king has a kingdom, right? How can he fit a kingdom on that tiny little island of his? So he's ruling from a distance. How do you master your emotions while also keeping everyone and everything at a distance? It's kind of, it doesn't really entirely work. You may feel that you have mastered your emotions by separating yourself from people, but maybe you have allowed yourself to understand it a little bit more by separating yourself, but it's only by putting what you've learned into action will you really have honed in those skills of mastering your emotions, if you want to look at it like that. So this is a card about believing that believing that the best way to control your emotions is by having a safe distance from everyone. You are objectively observing from a safe distance. You're keeping your heart safe. So that's the beginning of the month, is self-protecting. I don't really feel like you are diving deeply with your emotions. You're just at this place where you feel that the best way to handle these huge waves is by isolation, by isolating yourself from others. You may feel that's that's working for you, but in the long run, it's not really going to do anything for you. So that's the kind of the vibe that we're going into this month with. And this is the end of Mercury retrograde here. Mercury retrograde, like I said earlier, ends April 15th. So I'm seeing these two cards as being tied to during the time of Mercury retrograde. So I feel like with the Death card in reverse, there's something that needs to end, something that needs to be released or let go of. But when it's in reverse, there's a hesitation, there's a restriction, there's a block there that's preventing you from releasing, from letting go, from cutting that cord once and for all, so you can move on to the next chapter of your life, which is right over here. So there's delays happening, and that makes sense with Mercury retrograde. It makes it difficult to really I want to say to really go super deep with something as intense as emotions, because it's difficult to keep yourself focused during Mercury retrograde. For most people, there's an issue with staying on track and staying in focus because Mercury rules the mind. So there's just like too many other things that you feel like you have to deal with. So you're just doing what you need to do to keep your heart safe and delaying the inevitable because you don't want to deal with it just yet. So the end of the month, like the middle to the end of the month, the Page of Cups is asking you to take a step back and really look at your situation with fresh eyes, with like coming from a place of compassion and really looking at it from that place rather than from an objective place, a place where you're shutting your feelings off, you're shutting the heart off, things like that, and really observing where your insecurities lie so that you can move forward to heal them. Because I feel like the only way that you're going to be able to close this chapter fully is by diving into those emotions. So I feel like there's a resistance to dive deep just because we're afraid of what we're going to find. But it's only when you fully feel what you're feeling and allow it to flow will the answers come through for you on, what needs to be done next for you. If you feel like there is something, like if you're trying to move forward in your life in one way or another, whether it's like with a new relationship or a new creative project, and you're feeling like there's a resistance there and you can't understand why, I feel like it's because there is an emotional block that needs to be released, that the dam needs to be, destroyed, and the emotions need to flow so that the creativity and the love can genuinely flow through again. And this is really funny actually because I'm just gonna zoom out here. Actually, the moments before I start a reading, I notice, I pay attention to what it is that I'm doing, because I always find that it connects with the reading, 100%. For instance, Leo, the vibe that I felt before I was doing the reading was just like, I'm so over this. I want to give up. I'm just done. I'm done with this. And that was the vibe of the reading, where it was like, delaying the inevitable and just being so sick of going through the same cycle over and over again. And, that's what Leo's going through right now. for you guys, I was like overly focused on my appearance today. I was very, and then I was thinking about the word like facade, like coming off, like giving the appearance to everyone that I have it together. And then I'm like, I turned on the TV, and I think the movie is called November Sky. I can't remember, but it's Keanu Reeves and I forget her name. But it is the most emotional movie ever, and I just like was crying like an idiot. And I'm like, oh my God, like why am I doing this to myself? Like, I know that I am such a sucker for sad movies, and I cannot help but cry no matter what. And like I just couldn't turn off the TV. I just had to keep letting it out. And I'm like, this has to be related to Libra in some way or another. And lo and behold, this reading is all about emotions. And I just find that so funny, because the message is that even though you don't want to do it, you have to let yourself feel it. And, nothing horrible is going to come out on the other side of letting yourself feel your feels. You don't have to be around other people. And if you're having a hard time breaking that dam, maybe watching some kind of sad, romantic, sappy movie like November Sky for some reason that really hit me hard in the heart, doing something like that would be recommended this month. Like getting sappy with the romantic movies and letting yourself just cry it out, if you're able to. Another thing I would recommend doing is this is a month where you shouldn't be worrying about how you are coming off to others, how you are appearing to others, because it feels like with this death card, it's like the ending of this presentation that you give to others, where you want people to think that you are a certain way when inside you're hurting. So I feel like this is when the outside and the inside are meeting for the first time, or at least for the first time in a very long time, for the purpose of being more authentic and being more real and comfortable in your own skin, if that makes sense. So it's, if you feel that you need to keep yourself at a safe distance from people in the beginning of the month, that's fine, but just make sure that you're making use of your time and doing things like watching sad movies to let some of this emotion out. It may not be perfectly genuine, but at least it starts to get you in touch with that side of yourself where you can feel comfortable with being emotional. Because, the scales is the only sign out of the whole astrological chart, the wheel, that isn't a living thing. So it's very easy for Libra to, be cold, in the way that they handle things. They can come off that way, but maybe that's not how they feel on the inside. So I feel like this is when you become more alive with the way you handle yourself, if that makes sense. So, really stepping and allowing yourself to really take a serious look at your life and what you're creating for yourself, the masterpiece of your life, really stepping back and looking at the whole picture instead of being in a tunnel vision staring at one aspect of your life that's screwed up or whatever, which is probably whatever is connected to what needs to be ended here. So it's not saying you have to end it this month. That we are acknowledging that something needs to be, ended. Like the chapter needs to be fully closed and the cord needs to be completely cut. Yes, we're acknowledging that. But before we can really close that chapter, we need to understand our own insecurities and, our own emotional insecurities need to be dealt with first. Okay, Libra, I hope that makes sense for you. Trying to think if there's anything else. So this is a month of nurturing yourself. I don't really feel like it's excuse me. I don't really feel like it's going to other people for advice, but really this is just like a month of self-evaluation from your own personal perspective for now. Because there's no other people in these cards that make me feel like you need to be working with somebody else. But I feel like this is just a month of stepping back and evaluating your life and allowing yourself to feel your feels. Allowing yourself to feel it. It is okay to let those emotions flow. And if you can't get yourself to that place, that's fine, but at least start the steps towards, self-evaluation, and, I just heard, what the heck is that show where they're like, this is your life, you know what I mean? Where like you go through like all the people in your life come through. I can't fully remember, but I feel like that was a TV show or something like that. But that's what I was hearing. Libra, this is your life. And going through the movie of your life and understanding where these emotional triggers began and just observing it, to start to really make sense of why you have these insecurities emotionally in certain areas of your life, and just observing and understanding for the purpose of releasing something that is some major chapter of your life. And hopefully by May you will be able to fully heal this and release this, so that this chapter can close and this new chapter can begin. Don't try to force it to happen too fast, because this is not a linear timeline when it comes to dealing with emotions, especially the ones that are deep that you haven't really taken a good look at in a long time. So letting yourself feel your feels, acknowledging something needs to end, taking a step back and looking at things from a broader point of view for the purpose of addressing your insecurities. I think this is a wonderful month of self-evaluation, and I really hope that you take advantage of it, Libra. I really hope that you enjoyed this reading, and please follow me on Instagram at the Creative Gypsy. You can also check out my website as well. All that information will be below the video. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you in May. I'll be at our new place in May. Oh my God, I'm very excited. Okay, take care.